Hey, welcome to Chick Chat.
AC.
Casey, welcome. We are excited. We have a guest host with us tonight, and we will be right back. It's having a glitch. Hey, so we're back. So you're still dancing. All right. Right. So I am so excited that we are having this guest on tonight because this is the week before the new year, and it's always best for us to start on the positive note. And we're giving our first keys to success. I think we're going to have a series on this. So this is going to be our first key to success. And we have a wonderful guest host with us. Her name is Lisa Tanner, and she is a business director. She's a mentor, encourager, teacher, and we are so excited to have her on the show tonight. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is really a privilege and an honor.
Great. So and it's our episode number 20. Yes. Right. So thank you 20. For coming on. Episode number 20. Wow. If you've joined us, say hello in the comments. It's where you joined us from too. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about you and about our subject tonight.
Okay, well, I have been in a leadership role for some number of years, and in continuous improvement, ongoing all the time throughout my career. And I have learned that one of the most important keystone pieces to success is very simply knowing your why. And so I was in a chat with you guys a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago maybe. And I don't remember what Heather said, but she said something. I'm like, exactly. You have to know your why. It's that little voice inside that really determines our destiny more so than the voices of all the others out there in the chorus. So that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. Knowing our why and how that can help us achieve the success we want, our dreams.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to back up a little bit. And since I actually know you, I'm going to kind of go back to how we met and just like the other part of what we talked about, that you were the encourager. And so you and I met 5 or 6 years ago, I think, at my best friend from high school's wedding. And I had never met you prior to that, but we did the whole dress shopping and lunch and spent the whole day together. And then we did the wedding. And you were just continually throughout the whole process, just always so positive and encouraging. And at that time, the person that was getting married had been in a pretty toxic relationship for many years. I was at that time in one. And you just kind of encouraged us and kind of took us through the steps of getting out of that and past that. And I just think that there's been so many times in my life when I've had that day where it's like, not that I want to give up. That's really never been my thing, but just like I needed that little push, and somehow you always pop up with the right words. So I just want to thank you from my heart to tell you that, you know, you have changed so many lives that I know of, especially mine. So I am so thankful for you and your friendship.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. I'm so thankful for you. I can't tell you how often today it is you that's encouraging me. We all have tough days. We all do. And I think the most important thing that we can do is to surround ourselves with positive, like-minded people who are going places, people who are moving towards success. Because who you associate with does matter. And if you're hanging out with people who are negative and down all the time, you're going to be negative and down naturally. Whereas if you're hanging out with people who have hopes and dreams and are daring and out there doing those things that they dare to do, that's going to propel you as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that, part of that has been you reminding us what's our why.
yeah.
And so it kind of ties all that back in together. But, what's the why of why you want to make changes and why you want something better than what you're doing currently?
Right. And I start, every day really with why. Why am I doing this? And I do have a story that really helps with the importance of why, I think. And I tell this to all of my new hires when they come in. And, because our why really, really determines how successful we are. So to help you understand how important that why is, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. If I had a 10-foot board that was 1 foot wide and I laid it down across the ground and said, hey, Heather, I'm going to give you $20 to walk across this board. Would you take my money?
Heck yeah.
Of course you would. Everybody take my money.
Right.
If I took that same board though, and I put it across the top of 2 6-story buildings from one window to another window, are you going to take my $20 to go across the board?
Probably not.
Now, would you take $100 to go across the board?
Depends on the day, but probably not.
No, I wouldn't want to. $100? No way. It's not worth it. But if I told you in that building on the other side there was a fire, that building was burning, and your only child was in that room that this board was connected to, is there anything that would stop you from going across that board?
Nope.
No, you wouldn't take my money. And that is really the importance of why. When we really understand our why and we're committed to that, there is nothing that will stop us from achieving whatever the ultimate goal is. What does success look like to you, and why? Why do you want that? That is the most important thing. Everybody can sit down and say, if I make this much money, I'm successful. If I do this, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't have that why, if you don't have that passion, then you're not going to achieve it, because there's nothing to keep you going on those days when you feel down, right? You talked about having those down days. You're not a quitter, but it's really easy to quit when you don't have that passion because you haven't defined that why.
Yeah. And that's part of, like, with my business, I'm, after a decade, I'm closing the doors this week. And part of that's because I no longer have the why. Like, the reason I started it, all the stuff behind it, it's not my thing anymore. And so that's how I knew it was time to do something different. It doesn't feed me anymore.
Yeah.
Figuratively speaking, not literally.
Right.
Absolutely. So, it all fits into the time of year that we're coming into right now too. I had a really interesting conversation with someone that I really respect this morning, and they were asking me, hey, are you making resolutions? And I'm like, no, I don't make resolutions. I never make resolutions. I set intentions, and they're like, oh, that's semantics. No, it's not. When you're resolving to do something, you may say, I want to lose 50 pounds this year. Well, that's a really tough goal to achieve, right? And if you're not getting there, it's really hard to stick with it and keep going. Whereas I set intentions. I say, I'm going to strive to be smarter, to be healthier, to, get out and try and get some regular exercise and eat in a way that truly benefits my body. Those are objectives. Those are intentions that I can stick to, and if I have a bad day, oh, well, I can do better tomorrow. Right. It's not I'm defeated. Whereas with resolutions, I think we all get into a mindset of being defeated very quickly.
Yeah.
That's why they show that gyms have a great membership going in, but by February, the people have not stuck to it. And it's because it's an idea and it's not their own idea. Right. So they're joining it because there's a good deal and because they heard so-and-so's doing it. And it's really not their own idea. They just know they should, but they don't It's not
Right.
really what they truly want to do, right? So, I mean,
Yes.
I find that definitely. I was a health educator, and that was all. Always the thing is that we had to figure out what the why was, and is it and most of the time it was like you want to make sure that you have a healthy lifestyle versus dieting. Like if you're
Right.
just putting a number to it, that's not going to you're not going to be successful, because like you said, you might not meet that. But if you say I want to have a healthier lifestyle, that's easier to achieve, as long as, and I believe in, your why needs to be written down. Like there's a definite methodology to it. Like you definitely need to write it down, and write it down every day. I mean, I feel like that makes people more successful. Get something that you're going to be committed to and have accountability to. So accountability and writing it down, to me, is a success. And just doing those little things to keep you on track, on your why.
Yeah, I've been reading a really good book lately on called Atomic Changes, and it's about you know the atom is just such a tiny little thing, but when you start and you set that intention with just one small change, one small change leads to the next small change, and eventually you have a very big change going on. And I know that's certainly how it was for me, in my background. Heather spoke a little bit about how we met. I came out of a very violent situation. Had actually been in for 31 years. And at some point, I just, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? And I started asking that, and looking for something different, and with little tiny changes, little bitty steps, I have changed my life dramatically. Moved across country to a new city and state, met all new people, traveled the world. I have employees globally today that I work with, in Japan and the Philippines, and throughout Europe and England, all over the U.S. It is a phenomenal thing, and I did that just by starting out with my why. I wanted something better. I knew I did, and I really worked on focusing what that why was. What did success look like to me? And for me, it's really about bringing smiles to people's faces and silence to my heart. And so for that, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to give 110% every day, helping the young people determine, why did they pick this company? Everybody takes a job. Why did you take this job? Why this one? Why not another one? Why do you want to be an employee of this company? What are you going to do with it? And to watch them succeed and bloom is just really an awesome thing. Heather too, watching her, that has been just really phenomenal over the last 5 or 6 years. Just come a long way.
5, coming up on 5. Yeah, and for me, part of it was not the why as you're referring to the why, but why are you willing to put up with this? Like, why are you willing to choose this life? And why, all of those, like, so the why of positive and the why of the negative. Like,
Exactly.
that was, I think, almost bigger for me, was the why are you willing to require so little for yourself?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
So Lisa, what do you suggest for a person who has a lot of different things that they want to do, and they want to focus on one thing? I mean, what
Right.
is your suggestion to
So,
them?
so my suggestion is never one, but three. All right. And it goes back to that, small steps, right? Set three intentions. What are three things that you want to start working toward? And why do you want to work toward them? What is the benefit to you? What is the benefit to your loved ones? What is the benefit to your life and your life balance? All right. And you take those three things, and each day try to work on just one thing, but one thing across all three. of those. So, we talked about being healthier, right? Well, what is being healthy? Why do you want to be healthy? I want to be healthy so I can live a strong life, so that I can play with my children or my grandchildren, etc. Right? So you take those three pieces. It's eating better, right? It's exercise, and it's probably getting sleep, right? So there's three.
Yeah.
There's always three that are tied. When your why is that strong, you'll find that there are three pieces that you can work on, and you work on just a little bit each day of those three things, and before you know it, you've achieved that success that you're looking for.
I'm glad that you're talking about that. Hi, Mark. Mark is actually working in that. I know Mark, and he's actually working on his health right now. So that was a great timing for him to come in and say hello. So that's amazing. He's definitely working on that, but I like that. I like the 3 intentions, and it goes along for what I think. I try to make 3 goals. It's mind, body, spirit. So that kind of ties into the 3. I call it a bar stool model. Because you have to have the 3. For you to be balanced.
That's
for all
right.
of those things to be
Exactly.
together. So
we spent
that's
some
great.
time doing that the wrong way, I think, the bar stool. Oh no, see, she froze that perfect timing.
I think she set it up that way on purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think that that's true. For me, I know that, well, and you're kind of going through the same thing. I also think when you get to a certain point in life where big things are happening, it gives you that more incentive to, I used to say, just let me live to be, good 80, 85. And then now that I've met my person at, halfway through my life, now I'm like, I want a good 100, like I want a good 50 years. Like, I feel like I missed out on too much, previously. So I think it refuels you a little bit to get healthier and get, your 3.
Yeah. So I stepped back, and Mark, I love your comments, because this is exactly what I've been saying for the last 15, 16 minutes, I think. But I stepped back at one point, and I split my life into 3 chunks, right? And I said, okay, most people live to be 60. So you have 3 sets of 20 years, right? 20, 40, 60. And a really good friend of mine shared this with me to a certain extent once. And, the first 20 years, you're just figuring life out. You're a kid, you're learning, right? And that's your why. Your why is to learn and to be able to do it on your own. And so that next 20 years, well, you're raising a family in most cases, right? And you're learning how to do that, right? Because kids don't come with books. We have to figure out how to survive in the world as adults, So
Yeah.
So I'm in that last 20 now, and what is my why? And I can tell you very simply today, my cornerstone for my why is joy. Does it bring me joy? I finally gotten to that point in life. And if it brings me joy, then it's something that definitely I'm going to push hard to be successful at. Back to the very, very powerful and important aspect of defining what that why is.
For me, it's peace.
That's right.
Yeah. I was there at one point in my life, about the timing that we met. I just wanted peace in my life. Definitely. That was a big goal. But today I've grown past that, and I'm ready for joy.
And I think for me, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit bounced ahead. Mine is serving, so I want to
Yeah.
serve others. So that's my why at the moment. I think it's always kind of been my why, but we're all different, so we all have different reasonings, right? So
Right.
Yeah. Mindset matters. Absolutely, Mark. I love that. I said that the last time I was in a chat with these ladies, over and over and over again. Mindset matters. Mindset matters. Back to the point of 3 and your why. I start each day. Generally, we get up about 3:00 in the morning, somewhere around there. I take time to have my caffeine, but well before I start my day, working with my teams overseas, I pick 3 things I have to accomplish that day. And my objective is to make sure those 3 things are accomplished each day. And by the time I get to the end of the week, I've actually accomplished quite a bit.
Right.
You know, and again, that
That's
all
great.
leads into that, setting your intentions each day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
That's
power of why.
awesome. That's
Power of why
awesome.
keeps me going always.
Yeah. And I think you talked about service.
So is
You talked about joy. I talked about peace. I think they're all kind of intertwined, though, aren't they? I mean, for me at least, service brings me joy, which brings you peace.
Mhm.
Like it's all kind of the same thing in the end, I think.
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That's
you know,
right.
right back to your intentions, you know, your resolutions versus intentions. You want to lose weight. You know, well, there are three aspects to that, right? I mean, kind of like the three she was talking about as well.
Right.
So yeah, they are all intertwined. That's the whole idea. That's how we get to that. That's how we get to that achievement, that level of success.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And so my question, so at the end of the week with those three,
Oh yeah, we have a pause at the end of the week. At the end of the week, I have accomplished, I hope, 15 things.
Right.
You know, because I took 3 each day during the course of the week.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing my weekly report, I should be able to list out the 15 things I accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back. I don't know if it was the last show that you watched or one before where we talked about being productive over being busy. I
Yeah.
think so many people are just busy. You're not really accomplishing anything. Whereas if you have those specific 3 things, then you actually are being productive.
Yeah. See, people who are busy because they don't have that why. They don't have that passion. They don't have that motivation to drive them toward the achievement of whatever the objective is. You know, and that's why I always start with why when I have a new employee coming on board. You know, I want to know why. Why did you pick this company? Why did you pick
right?
this role? You know, what does success look like to you? And why do you want to be successful? You know, what is it? And those are 3 questions that I go back to them with on a regular basis once a year. You know, because we need to remember why we're doing what we're doing. It's very easy to get complacent. You know, so I think we have to step back every now and then and recalibrate what our whys are. Our life can change drastically, and our why today may not be the same as our why 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great that you're a leader like that because not everybody has a leader that wants to know that and wants to push you, encourage you that. So that's amazing in itself, Lisa.
Well, thank you.
Because I mean, not all managers are that way. I mean, they just, they have their own why, and they don't share it with you, right? So
Yeah, you know, I mean, I had this conversation with someone earlier today, and they were like, you know, why do I work? Well, because I want to make money. Well, you know, that's you're going to make money, but how are you ever going to achieve a level of success that you're comfortable with, that you're happy with? How do you feel accomplished? How do you feel successful? You make money.
Well, we had this conversation last night actually about how, doesn't everyone work for money? Well, yes, but really what we're working for is what the money does, what the money allows us to do, the feeling it gives us to do the things that the money pays for. It's not necessarily about the money itself.
Right. So the saying is, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Right.
that's right. Yeah,
And it's true.
that's right.
And how do we love what we do, and how do we continue? I mean, I know people who have spent their entire careers working for the same company, right? I was 17 years at one company. How did I retain that love and that joy? Well, I knew what my why was every day, and it wasn't just going in and collecting a paycheck. You know, my why was very much about servitude as well. You know, it was bringing up the next generation of leaders, coaching, mentoring, you know, working with other people in my field outside of my company, you know, and expanding their knowledge and education. You know, education has always been a very big why for me. I think that, you know, one of the only way we can truly be successful is to make those around us successful, right? So,
right.
I mean, that's really the golden rule. That's really the key, and it's true. It's absolutely true.
Right.
When I educate my people, when I train them and make sure that they have a job that they enjoy, all right, their success is my success. And truly I cannot be successful if they are not.
That's
Mhm.
right. That's right. That's right. That's why we definitely need more leaders like you in the corporate worlds anyway.
I think there are a lot of them coming up. I truly do. And I think
Yes.
chats like this are bringing about a change in the industry as a whole.
Yes. I worked in the insurance industry, and we, of course, we had the black belt Six Sigma, and we had different, leadership programs to help us, who moved my cheese, we did
Okay.
those, so we had a lot of corporate kind of things that we kind of, as managers, we kind of tried to do with our teams. But, every manager is different. So, I mean, I think that's great, Lisa, that you are that encouraging. So, do they know your why? Do you share your why with them?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought.
Absolutely. Of course I do. In fact, my very first introduction to my team overseas, I flew over. I hired in like in November and January. I'm flying to this other country, 26 hours away, and I'm going before my team for the very first time. And the power of why is the very first message I want them to understand. First and foremost. So I gave them my resume. And the slide one, this is who I am, what my background is. And now slide two, these are the goals that I want to set for us as an organization. And slide three, why. This is why I'm here. This is why I chose this role. This is why I believe I was chosen to lead this. And this is what we're going to do. And in the first 5 years, we accomplished every single one of those goals. And it was really exciting when I was able to go back to that team, all but one. I still had all but one employee, and show them that list and the fact that we had achieved every single one of those goals and objectives during that 5 years. And that why, that really truly is the key.
Well, I believe that for me, at least, when I, pre-COVID, when I had, decent sized staff, and that was part of the thing is that, I constantly was explaining to my employees my why. Why do I run this company? Why do we do this? Blah blah blah. On the other hand, I also was very big about I can't do what I do without you, and you can't do what you do without me. So we have to work together as a team, and that's how I think everything, how it got built to that point. And there's nothing when we're out in the field. There's nothing I wouldn't do that I expected them to do. If it's a really
Right.
nasty job, I'm going to jump in and do it just as much as you. I'm
Exactly.
not going to be like, I'm not doing this. Hey, employee, come over here.
No,
You have to work together as a team for it to
exactly. So one of my biggest whys is very simply wanting to see the next group of leaders coming up today and wanting to be a part of influencing the type of leadership that they will represent in the workplaces of tomorrow. Right. I mean, to me, that is just the most important thing we can do. That is our legacy, right? You can go into any company and you can be successful. You can make money, you can make the company money. That's success, right? A lot of people feel that way, but the legacy really is not in just being a good leader, but in producing more good leaders. And to me, that's success. And that's my why. That's my motivation every day. Is what can I do to see the next group of leaders come up? And it's crazy exciting to watch. It really is. I love it. Seeing them catch on to the power of why.
Yeah.
That's also very exciting.
Well, that is
Now, is there any
go ahead.
Is there
I'm
any?
sorry. Is there any resource that you yeah, what resource do you tag to that you help
Ugh,
to
I read a
foster the
lot.
why?
I read a lot. But number one, I tell the story, right? make sure everybody understands how important that why is. When there is something, your why is so strong that nobody can pay you for it, right? You're going to do it anyway. You nothing will stop you from achieving success. Nothing. And when that light bulb comes on for people and they realize, oh my gosh, this is important. This is so important. And they get it. And they sit down and they make the time to meditate on it and figure out why am I doing this? I'm doing this to support my family. I'm doing this, and watching those whys develop and change over time or within a career path for individuals, who want to be managers or leaders or whatever. Super exciting thing. It really is. And keeps me going every day. Some days are hard.
That's awesome.
To Heather's point.
I get it.
But, yeah.
Well, I'm part of a group called Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? And it's a billionaire who followed the book Think and Grow Rich. And and that is actually one of his in his first chapters is about your why. What gets you up in the morning? Why are you doing it? And then he gives great points. So I'm just throwing that out there because he has a group, if anybody wants to join that, because he has a lot of these same why, I like to be mentored myself. So I seek that out. So you have to, in your why, you have to seek out the knowledge. So who are you, if you have a why and a goal, who are you going to seek it from? Somebody who is making that success in that field and what they're doing. Correct. So that's who you're going to follow and want to be mentored by. And so like he's somebody I'm following right now and that I'd like to be mentored by. So, I think it's so important that we have those resources and that, that you don't go it alone, that you have that accountability with someone. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are by themselves. They're like Heather, you were by yourself, you kind of run out of steam sometimes if you're not constantly seeking out, that motivation, that accountability, and I don't know if you want to add to that, Heather. Huh?
You got to fill your pitcher.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too many times, especially we as women are out there and we're serving and we're pouring, we're serving, right? Service.
Yep.
We're giving that service. We're pouring. But if you don't stop and fill that pitcher back up, sooner or later, you got nothing to pour out anymore. You can't serve anymore.
That's right.
You have to fill yourself. So,
that's right.
To me, it's good books. It's associating with people who are going places and doing things, people who are working toward achieving that level of success that I want. Mentorship, get into a mentorship program, definitely, but not just as a mentee, become a mentor. I find I learn far more from the young people that I mentor than they do from me. And that's just simply the truth. That's the way it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We're all have our own journey. I mean, it's all unique too. So that is good to get nuggets from each person that you interact with on those journeys. So go ahead, Heather, and I'm sorry.
It changes too, because here I am at 50 and I have no idea what my next thing is. And I'm just kind of sitting back waiting. I'm looking for things, but I'm sitting back waiting for that, that voice to tell me what's next. And I don't know what that looks like, to be honest with you. And that's kind of scary. But on the other hand, it's like having the trust to know that it's got to be something that's going to feed me, or I just can't do it.
Why
you gotta be passionate about it.
Yeah. That passion builds perseverance, right? You think about water cutting through rock. The water doesn't cut through the rock because it's strong and determined. It cuts through it because it's persistent, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. And right. And when you have your why, why you want to do something. That's your persistence. That's what keeps you going every day. Yeah. At least for me, that's what I've found.
Yeah. Well, and I think that
right. Yes.
and when the why, like we said before, when the why goes away, it's time to find something new, because I know, yeah, I wasn't waking up every day. Oh, I can't wait to go do this job. I'm so glad I own this company. I wasn't like that anymore. And that's when I knew it was time, because I wake up every day and go, oh God, I don't want to do this. And it's still I'm offering service, but it's just not, it's not what feeds me anymore.
Yeah. Right. So what's next,
well,
Heather?
we all, we evolve.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. I'm not sure, but I got 3 days of work left, so I don't know.
Hey, I mean, trial by fire. Well, I mean, it will hit you, it will. I mean, I feel like, if you have trust and faith in that, and it's going to hit you, something that's going to resonate with you, and it's going to just be your niche. You just don't know what it is yet. And that's okay. Maybe you have to declutter from what you just went through. Sometimes we have to for us to go forward, we have to shed the past. So you're going to have to shed that off for a minute. Give yourself grace and take a minute. Don't rush into anything. I think that you should just kind of take a minute and just go, okay, that's the past now. I'm shedding this, and I think it will find you. I mean, I think you're going to find it,
I still think
it's whatever brightens your day, whatever makes you excited. I get excited doing certain things, and I know that I'm in line with my passion. Then I'm like, oh, if that excites me, that must mean I'm on track.
I think that coaching is still definitely in there somewhere. And I think speaking is in there. I'm just not exactly sure how exactly it's in there yet. I haven't got all the pieces, but I think that coaching is definitely where I'm headed. I'm just not exactly sure what that looks like.
And most of us coaches, we don't know what that looks like either, because we've been kind of infiltrated with a bunch of coaches all at the same time. There's lots of them out there, but somebody put it to me like this: we all need some kind of life coach or motivational coach, like you're called a motivational mentor, because each one of us has a life, and each one of us do need accountability, and each one of us do need some inspiration. So, I mean, there's billions of people on the planet. So somebody needs you. Somebody needs what your niche is going to be, and whatever that looks like.
Not everyone's going to relate to you. That might relate more to me. So we have to have a variety of people.
That's right. Absolutely. That's right.
So if you have any ideas, feel free to send me.
If she has any,
Right. My number one idea for you, Heather, is to sit down and make a list. And that first list needs to be what your strengths are. And it's called an I am list. You need to sit down and you need to make that I am list, just 10 simple I ams. And you want to stick that on your mirror. And every morning when you wake up, you are going to say that out loud to yourself. I am, whatever that looks like. Okay. What is it? And not just what you believe you are today, but what you want to be. Okay. What is it that you're trying to achieve? What is happiness and peace and joy and balance look like to you? And those are the qualities that you want to exude, that you want to express when you meet someone or talk with them. I am strong. I am bold. I am balanced. Whatever they are, make your I am list of things that you want to achieve. And you do that over time. And you're going to achieve that. How is it that you want to change yourself? That's your very first why you can start working on. I'm very proud of you, Heather. I've watched you grow and develop, and I know what it's like to feel like you're floundering out there sometimes. Focus is all you got to do, and knowing what that why is. Why? Because you weren't happy where you were. Sometimes that's enough why. It's not always a positive why.
It worked with a man. Why wouldn't it work with a job?
There you go.
There you go.
So That's right. I want to say hello to Nora. Nora is one of my friends who she just put her life dream into action this last year.
Awesome.
She started
Yeah,
her catering and food truck. Yep.
that's awesome.
That was always her dream, and she did it world domination with her catering and food truck. So she put it out there and she made it happen. She visualized it. She knew
That's
what
right.
colors she wanted. She knew what she what foods she was gonna, and that's she had to write that all down, right? So Nora, what do you have to say about that? I would love to hear that. Besides you are going to do a world domination. She makes awesome lumpia and pancit, by the way. Anyway, Island Time Delights. I'm going to give her a little plug. So she's here in Virginia. So she made it happen. She just started. Well, thank you. You have to say that anyway. um, I helped her just with the marketing. I just helped her with that part. So but you have to have it visualized. You have to have it visualized, right? I mean, what do you want? Yeah, a brand. I mean, that's I love doing. I mean, that's what excites me for me, when I get passionate about just making a graphic on the phone. I know that's silly, but I love it. It's like, I love that, So I finally realized that I should do that. I was
Absolutely.
like, oh, maybe I should make websites and do marketing and do social media management. And sure enough, now I have 3-4 consistent clients. So, it's a side hustle. I call it my side hustle, but I love it. It's actually more exciting to me than my, 9 to 5. So, it enlivens me. Shh, don't tell anybody I don't like my 9 to 5. Huh?
You know what I find fascinating about that is that there are so many people out there who have that side hustle, right? They may not even be profitable. They're not making any money, but it gives them so much joy doing it. And I honestly believe that if they follow that, if they truly pursue it, as you are, you will achieve that success. You have 3 clients now, a year from now, that could be 6, that could be 10, that could be 12. Because
Right.
why is strong. It gives you joy.
Yeah. Yeah. I like making silly little videos, like that little welcome video we made, Like, I like making things like, it's kind of my why. It's like it brings me out. It's not a hot, I was calling it a hobby there for a minute, like that's a hobby, I used to do Irish dancing because I loved it. It was my why, and I turned into a teacher with it. Like you were talking about mentoring, I loved it so much that I became a teacher of it. So, you have to just go after whatever that is, whatever is making you, successful and happy, or not successful, but happy. Like you were saying,
Right.
it has to make you happy. It has to make you
Right.
joyful. You have to
If you
have
love
joy
it.
in it.
If you love what you're doing, you will never work a day in your life.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. And
True
Nora, you're
story.
doing so good, girl. I mean, I love it. I mean, and like you said, surrounding yourself with the right people.
Exactly.
That power of the 5, the power of the 5.
Yes,
That's what they talk about, your 5 closest relationships, um,
exactly.
help to see where you're at, and, can really help you with your success and things, really picking those people in your inner circle, to tell you the truth. I think it's to tell you the truth. I don't think it's because they're going to motivate you and they're the best and they're the most successful. I think it's those are the people you trust and are going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a very critical point. I when I started out on my current journey, it was about 2012, about 10 years ago. And I was really in a rock bottom position. My marriage of 31 years had crumbled underneath. It was unbearable. I could not stay in it. I turned to a mentor. I used a mentor, and I was at a very low point in life. 210 pounds, just a mess, just a mess. And in fact, I look at those pictures and I'm like, man, I don't even recognize that person. That person does not look like me. And I use this mentor, and her very first project for me, her very first thing was to find a woman in my life that I admired, that I looked up to, and to pick one thing about her and emulate it, copy it, do exactly what she did. And that was my grandmother. My grandmother was my unconditional love throughout my life. And I had lost her. She was gone, no longer here. But the thing that I always remembered most about my grandmother was her bright red painted fingernails. She always had bright red fingernails. Yes. And so I chose to copy her. I chose to copy her, and I went and I got my nails done for the very first time in my life. Okay. And this is about 10 years ago. I'm in my mid 40s, right? So I go and I get my nails done, and it's like, I didn't think I would like it. I really didn't. I'd never had my nails done, but it felt so good. It was such a simple thing, and it felt so good. And I was hooked at that point. I can change. I can make tiny little changes that help me feel better and stronger about who I am. And, for me, it really started with my why. My why was my life was in the pits. It was unbearable. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. That was the one thing I knew. Yeah. I did not want to live like that anymore. I knew there was something better. And I knew that within me was the strength and determination to get to what that better thing was. And for me, because of that very first mentor, it became about sharing it with everyone all the time. I believe in order to have something, you have to give it away. That's really the only true way you achieve it. You get it is by giving it away.
Well, and I have the opposite. When I met you, I was 110 pounds, and I'm way taller than you. And
way taller.
And I find that ironic, because when I met you, I knew that I wanted to make people feel the way that you made me feel.
Oh,
you would encourage me, and that's part of where I started the Daily Nugget, which I'm bringing back this year in 2023. And it was all that was just like, I want to be the person. For me, it was you most days that would post, like I said, just whatever I needed to hear that day, or a phone call or a message, like you just knew I needed to hear something that day. And I wanted to make other people feel the way that you made me feel in that time. And that's kind of how this all started.
Well, that's exciting. That is really exciting. And to me, that is my why, summed up right there perfectly. You are my why. You are why I started this journey in 2012. Because I knew that there were other people out there like me, and I also knew that there was something better, and I was going to work on that, and I was going to help anyone who wanted to get there. Stacy, you, whoever comes into my path.
Yeah.
Just to bring smiles to the world and silence to my heart.
Exactly. We lost Sandy again. She's on a solar journey somewhere.
Yeah. Great time for a guest speaker, right?
I'm glad you're here, because otherwise I'd be talking to myself all night. But yeah, and I think that it goes back to what you said. It's that why. It's that we've all gone through our stuff. We all have our stories, and if you can use that story to help somebody else, then it makes it. I don't want to say. I guess it's worth it. I think it makes it worth it.
I think it adds power to it. When you can bring somebody along with you. Yeah. I mean, it's like, what do they say? You share your troubles and they're divided. You share your joy and it's multiplied.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Welcome back, Sandy.
Yeah. What? Hi.
We're so glad you could pop in.
I keep popping in and out. It's just kind of fun. No, yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. My connectivity is not great right now, but and I missed what you had to say, Heather, and I apologize. I'll have to go back and watch to see what you said.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if you've moved on from this subject, but I think, there's power in our story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because we can add the lessons that we learned regard how bad it was. Oh, I'm leaving again.
Right.
Was I
But
leaving on a
Teresa,
jet plane again? I don't know.
Teresa brought up a really great point here that I want to touch on. She talked about finding someone to encourage her was difficult. Man, it is. Asking for help is hard, right? I mean, it is so hard. I am not that person. I cannot ask for help. I struggle terribly with it. But and I think that's part of why I'm so eager to help others, right? Because I think that there are a lot of people out there who won't ask for that help.
Sometimes I think it's because there's shame behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
code,
So
yeah.
much toxic shame in this world. Good Lord.
Well, that's why it's important to find, like
Right.
with you, I hate to keep going back to you, but you're here. That's the thing, is you had already been where I was. So there wasn't that method of shame. You did it for 31 years. So gosh, how am I going to be shameful for my, my short time or whatever you tell yourself?
Right.
But if you can remove that amount of shame, it's a lot easier to ask for help. Because if someone's been where you
But
are, then
that's why it's important that we are authentic in telling our story, because how is anybody going to know what we've
Sure.
been through unless we tell it? And there's that word narcissist that comes up so much now, right? Like that's thrown out there all the time. And I think people get worried that they're going to be looked at like, well, if I keep telling my story, do I look narcissistic? Like I've had that worry, like narcissistic, things, but no, people actually do want to hear your story, and they really do, want to have somebody to connect to. That's the point. And I feel like for all of us, connection is number one. Like, I mean, we all need to connect. I mean, if anything's taught us, that was the last couple of years, right? So, when we got isolated, that never happened in our world before, where people became isolated and then they realized they didn't have very many connections, and they didn't have that connectivity like they thought. So it's really important. We're talking about the why, but we're also talking about having those people to support you, that connectivity, that was important. Like I was lucky I had Heather, so during that time, and so she helped me through that, because I felt really isolated. So it taught me a lot. The last couple of years has I think taught all of us a lot, right?
And it's not always comfortable telling your story either.
Oof, no.
So back to the comment on the narcissism. I mean, I have actually sat in a therapist chair and said, but am I a narcissist? And the therapist looks at me and says, that question alone says you're not.
Yep.
It is tough. It is very tough. Again, having that support network of positive people around you, so critical. If you are hanging out with losers and people who have no goals, no objectives, aren't going anywhere, you're going to go with them. You're going to go with them. And I would much rather surround myself with people who are much smarter, much stronger. The people I hire, I want to hire people who are smarter than me. Right. That's the way it works. That's how you achieve success. Again, my success is only as good as the success of those who work under me.
Yeah. Two things on that. Number one, we talked about who you surround yourself with. Sandy, what was our phrase? The whole time we were friends, what was our phrase?
What? The power inside. What?
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Yeah.
Always.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
You have to have those people.
You have to. You have to have people that are willing and able to tell you the hard stuff. Like, there's been conversations she hasn't liked me very much, and there's been conversations I haven't liked her very much. But the reality is, at some point, you have to say, why'd that bother me? When she said that, why did that hit a nerve? and then you have to do that work.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where you have to come through, and that I think that's where pride comes in, right? And Lisa, it sounds like you have no like that's where your success is about the why and hiring the right people is you don't have pride. And so when you don't have pride, you're not going to get offended. So if you're not offended, those things aren't going to bother you, you know. Yes, does it bother you to hear it and the reality check of it? Yeah, maybe so. It hurts at a moment.
Right.
But if you take that and you go, well, I trust that person, and I think she's telling me that for a good reason. Not she's not telling me that to tear me down and to hurt me. Telling me
Right.
that to help me.
Well,
So that's why it's important you have to build that trust with people.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things we do as leaders is to empower our people, right? I mean, we have to empower those that are around us always, and people have to know that they can come to you and they can tell you whatever they need to. They can say whatever they need to. They can be wrong, all right? One of the things that I do with my teams is I apologize. I make mistakes sometimes, and I will straight up apologize to them. Yes, we have to empower each other. Absolutely. This conversation is very empowering. What you guys are doing with this weekly show is very empowering in so many ways because it's a tool, it's a resource, and you're giving back. And, to me, that's a very powerful why. I hope that, you guys have tremendous success here. You definitely are working hard for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, our why was to start it was that we did have a why, right, Heather? I mean, our why was to just, to not make it so serious sometimes and to make it fun sometimes. And, our why changes and our topics change, but the why is still to serve others. And that I think that her and I collaborated on that and said, yep, that's what it's for,
Well, she's frozen again, but I think that for me, I mean, just like Teresa just said, I don't know how to put the comments up there, like same does, but this show's helped her immensely. Like, that's why we do it. I mean, that right there is enough for us to keep doing this and come back next week. One person is all it takes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And I knew that when I got into advocacy, right? It was like, if I could help one person, if one person doesn't have to go through what I went through, then it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Yes.
Or even if they have to go through it, but you help them get out.
Yeah. I mean, I want to find the darkest place and shine my light as bright as I possibly can. And this is a really great way to do that. You ladies are very impressive.
Well, you can come back anytime.
Yes, you can come back anytime. I mean, definitely. And in our episode number 20, our first guest, we definitely need guests every couple.
Yeah, everyone.
Every couple episodes.
Well, I would be happy to come back and speak on another topic. I can tell you I do a fair amount of speaking. Like I said, I will be in Atlanta in February speaking at the Falcon Stadium. So
that's amazing.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it very much. Yes. So I really want to thank you ladies for inviting me today. This has been really encouraging. And like I said, I learn more from the people I mentor than they're ever going to learn from me. So this has been a real learning experience and I definitely enjoyed it.
Thank you. And I don't think that's true, by the way. I'm not agreeing with you right now.
That's fine. I can assure you in most cases, I learn more from the people that I work with than they'll ever learn from me.
Well, that's amazing. If people wanted to reach out to you, is there any platform that you're on? If you're speaking, what are you speaking for? Are you speaking?
Well, so I work in artificial intelligence. So a lot of what I present on is tied to AI technology in the back office.
Cool.
And autonomous functionality etc. So that's generally what I
Well,
speak on when I'm out there. It's exciting place to be. I work for a really awesome company. LinkedIn is my platform. People can connect with me there
okay,
on
great.
LinkedIn, and
Great.
I'm always here.
All right, great. And if you don't mind, after, if you just put your link to that in on our chat, I would love
Sure,
to share that so they can reach out to you, you know. So
absolutely. I will add that to
great.
the chat. My pleasure.
One wonderful. And Heather, is there anything you want to promote tonight?
Mm, yes. So starting back up in January, the podcast will go live again on Spotify, Anchor, the Motivational Mentor. This show, of course, every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And I don't know, big things are coming. Just don't know exactly what they are yet.
Awesome. Awesome. And I am offering on my SASH coaching, Sandy Archer Spiritual Health. If you go to sashcoach.com, set an appointment with me. I'm doing New Year's vision sessions. So if you want to start off the new year, I have a free one for you, 30-minute free session. So please look me up, sashcoach.com. So thank you. All right, you ladies, this has been so wonderful. Lisa, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Definitely want to
My
have you back.
pleasure.
So all right, everybody, you guys have a wonderful Tuesday night and Happy New Year, because we won't see you till next year. So after next year. So
Happy New
everybody have
Year.
a wonderful evening, and we will see you next Tuesday, correct? Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. All
6
right.
p.m.
Good
See you
night,
guys
everyone.
later. All right. Peace out.